Hey everybody, Carolina Gilcapi here from State Adventures, and it's time for another travel story. But this time it won't be my story. It is the words of a client who has recently returned from a beautiful trip to Costa Rica and has written such a great review of everything that he has experienced. And I thought it would be worthy to share it with you. So let me share my screen and you'll be able to hop on here with me and follow along on Dan's 10 memorable days. Last September, I had a knee replaced. The surgeon said it would take a year to heal, but 3 months would mark a milestone. So I decided to book something special for December, both as incentive and reward. But where? It had to be challenging, but not too much, new to me, but navigable, where I could avoid the selfie stick brigades and cookie cutter hotels. I'm normally a DIY traveler, but I needed help. So I turned to Sade Adventures, whose founder, Carolina Gilcapi, appeared to have unusual insight into a range of places and the flexibility to meet most people's individual needs and preferences. At 78 and retired, I can afford this now, so I emailed her. First, she persuaded me to give up the idea of a trip to an island in the Indian Ocean and look closer to home. How about Costa Rica? She asked. And that is how my wife Debbie, and I took a 10-day trip to this small but remarkable country right in our backyard. At Carolina's suggestion, we divided our time between a Pacific Coast destination and a mountain resort, and we loved every minute. Our first day at Arenas del Mar in Manuel Antonio, we had barely checked in when we were whisked down the escarpment to the beach in a speedy golf cart to witness the hatching of baby turtles as they stumbled haphazardly out of their buried nest to make their way to the water's edge and disappear into the surf. Sorry, guys, I'm so excited when I read these. It was truly an extraordinary sight and a stunning start to our visit. Arenas del Mar. We spent the next day exploring a national park with a private guide, and the day after that on a catamaran exploring the coast with a break for a swim while we snacked on barbecued ribs. The third day we had off, strolling the beach and hanging out. That evening, we ate up the mountain at Emilio's Jazz Cafe. On the fourth day, we took a Damas Island boat tour through a mangrove swamp and had a tico supper at a roadside diner. The drive to La Fortuna on the shoulder of the Arenal volcano took 5.5 hours with stops for pictures, making the journey worth every minute. We stayed at the Nayara tented camp, one of several secluded clusters of lodges and eateries in a jungle resort designed by a South African with an eye for detail. It was both sumptuous and simple, with our tent hidden from view at a rear where we could float naked in a heated spa pool and look up directly at the volcano. How gorgeous is that? The first morning, we did a guided forest tour that covered 2 miles of trails through the rainforest, including 16 hanging bridges up to 250 feet high and 350 feet long. I did fine on the bridges, but had difficulty with the steep downhill due to my bulky knee. So our guide, Mario, called the office, which sent a mobility scooter that I drove to the gate. Afterward, he took us to a small family farm for a fascinating chocolate tour and a private Tico picnic on the shore of the Rio Puro. We had dark chocolate bonbons for dessert that we had made ourselves. The day after that, we had a sloth tour in the forest, seeing at least a half a dozen, some with babies, others crawling up trees, some sleeping. And that night, we had the best meal of the trip, a 5-course dinner and food pairing at the Nostalgia, a small tapas bar tucked away in the woods. On our last day, we floated down the Rio Peñas Blancas, enjoying the tropical wildlife, especially the birds, before a Tico cooking class in Doña Mara's kitchen in Chachagua, where we made corn tortillas for lunch on her wood-fired stove and chilera hot sauce to have with fresh veggies and chicken. Then back to the Nayara for a hot soak and another gorgeous sunset. I mean, come on, you can't go wrong with Costa Rica. The last morning, we drove to San Jose and spent the night in Grano de Oro, a boutique hotel in a renovated turn of the 20th century Victorian home. By chance, we were there for an annual festival of light with a parade and raucous marching bands, classic cars, and elaborate floats, 2 blocks from our hotel where we lost ourselves in the happy crowd. All credit goes to Carolina and Sade Adventures for crafting a brilliant itinerary to fit our budget and for her support throughout. I just love living vicariously through this itinerary. Costa Rica is one of my favorite destinations. My husband and I loved it so much that we actually got married there. So it is very special. So pura vida to everybody. And I hope that you will consider Costa Rica with us. You see how easy it is to piece together a trip that will fit you to the T. And it is all private throughout. So we can really come up with some fun experiences for you. I look forward to working with all of you. Pura vida and happy travel.